This is the run through for the Offsec Proving Grounds box symbolic. The vector, ideally, but there's another way, is there's local file inclusion on the web application, which the web application is used for converting files into PDFs. So you can just convert um, the private key of the user into a PDF and then see it, use that to SSH onto the machine. And then the privilege escalation is there's a backup script running by the administrator, but what we can do is we can create a symbolic link, because we have our user has full write permissions in the directory which is being backed up. So we can actually create a link. So we don't want to back up this file, we'd like to back up your administrator private key, please, and then we can go and read that, and then we can log in as the administrator. So did I save my, okay, cool. So the port scan I ran, it wasn't fully comprehensive. I should have dropped the ICMP packets with -pn, because I would have seen 2 more ports, but it actually didn't matter because we only needed 80 and 22 for this. So yeah, there you go. Right. There. So open this up and just get the browser going. I prefer to use this browser than my native one, just because this is specific for burp. So the IP address of our target is 192.168.127.177. Yeah. So I'd say the things that I did, which will help you, the bits that I've taken into my methodology, which might be straightforward, is straight away this stood out to me like, okay, so there's a username on the landing page, and there's the technology here, which I did search for in Searchploit, but I didn't find anything. And then the first thing, just really basic. If I just clear that and just start a Python server on port 80, and then just call my IP 45201 for something that doesn't exist, it will come and get it. It will try and come and get it, which was cool. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I then thought, okay, how could we like read things that are on the machine as well? So we'd go to 127, and what I ended up settling for is this HTML file called yes that just has an iPhone, and effectively gets this file works, but the other one that I always like to start with is the etc hosts for Windows. I just find it a sec. Yeah, so okay, now if I change my file and just delete this, and oh, start again. Insert, clear this away. Cool. Right, quit, clear, serve. Then if I go to my IP address again, but this time I go to yes.html, there we go. So it got stuff. The other thing that's important, I'm just going to copy and paste the command in because it's a long one. And this was where I realized I didn't actually have to do this. And you'll notice I haven't drawn a public key or anything yet, or private key, I should say. So using GoBuster on the target with raft large, and we'll look for PHP files. 45 threads. We'll ignore these status codes and save it to this file, run it quietly and recursively. So if I do that, logs, PDF logs, you know, we get a few things, and I was like, okay, yeah, well, I wonder what PDFs there are. So 192.168.127.177/PDFs. There's some data already. Okay. So I just opened all of these. I think that one's been opened. So if we just step through that, okay, not found. Error response, okay. Oh, so we didn't, even if we didn't get to the local file inclusion, we could do it this way. So I'm just going to call this low.key, insert, paste, okay. And because I realized or hypothesized, however you want to look at it, that this is a user, and it's like it's not the admin, it's first person we have. The other thing I've got to do is change the permissions on the key so they're more reasonable, they're not too generous, and then low key payload at 192.168.127.177. Wicked. So we're in. Let's just see, like, if we can do what we can do. Not much. Okay. So we can use SCP through SSH to copy binaries onto it, which I did do. I did get limpies on here and I ran it. And one thing stood out to me straight away of the notes I made, and it's basically the console history of the commands that have been run. So it was located at this path. You would see this in limpies when you ran it, or if you run it. And this effectively tells us how to do the privesc. So CreateSymlink.exe, I didn't really know what that was to start with. We remove these logs, then we go into the log file, and then we run this, and we're basically creating a link. So this is how we do the privesc. The other thing on our enumeration journey would be that you would realize that you have write permissions to the XAMPP. You have full permissions basically to the XAMPP directory, which means we can control this. And what this binary does when we get it, and I'll show you where to get it from in a second, it allows us to circumvent the permissions we don't have, because there would be a what's it called, an SE privilege of, if I can remember it, yeah, the privilege you'd be looking for if we could is this SE create symbolic link, but we don't have that privilege, and so this binary gets around that. So it will basically take this directory or this link and actually make it of this file, which is what we want. The other, the other thing is, if we have a look here, maybe it's staring you in the face right now, but there's a backup directory. So if we go into backup, like that, there's a backup.ps1. Let me just just clear the screen, and then type that backup script out. So what this does, it declares a variable of this request log, and there's a backup logs directory which is here, and then forever, whilst eternity is true, we just copy the logs from the XAMPP server, back them up, and give them a name of the date and time timestamp, and then we sleep for 60 seconds. So we want to also understand who had privileges to run that. So if I just run PowerShell, because this is the way I know how to do it. And come on, terminal, what's going on? So only the administrator has access to this, but they've got to be the person who's going to run it every 60 seconds. So essentially, if we then oh yeah, let me explain where to get that from as well. So the place to get the people who made that Symlink tool is Google Project Zero, and they have a releases which you unzip and there'll be the binary in there, or you can build your own with VS Code. So I've already got that, I think. Yeah, I should have. Nope. Yeah, okay. So then I just need, and if we remember that commands, it basically like it told us what the steps were that we needed to do. So back to here, let's just go somewhere we know will work, and then yeah, cool. Okay, we got it. We need to delete the way that symbolic linking works is there can't be anything in the path, like the path. I don't think the path can exist in full. So so when we run this, we should have deleted everything that was in the htdocs logs requests directory. In fact, let me just spell it right out just to be like clear. Yeah, so we've already got a request.log. I mean, we can, so this stuff's gone on, but this needs to be deleted basically. So Okay, and then go back to Windows tasks, and then yep. Now the way this works is it will hang and do its thing until you tell it to stop. So when we press enter, okay, it wonder if yeah. Yeah, like that. So it's doing its thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that hanging, and I'm going to come in from another SSH session and we want to go in symbolic, and then SSH dot low. Oh, I'm mashing this. Yeah, low key. Oh, his ugly name. Payload. In fact, let's take all of that. Okay, so payload at the target, we're in, and now if we go to backups, what should have happened is it didn't back up the XAMPP file. It actually copied a symbolic link that had the XAMPP file, but it was actually the admin's RSA private key. So if I go to backup, and then we got logs. These are all timestamped, and if you've got a keen eye, and if I zoom in a bit because that's a bit small, you might notice this one is a bit bigger than all the others. So well, yep, and then type out that file. Oh yeah. So we've got the key data. I'm not sure why. I'm not even going to trying to say why, but I'm just taking the key material out, and then I'm going to exit. Then hi.key. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing with this. Yeah. So, oh, for some reason the formatting was a bit. In fact, yeah, let's do it this way. I'm just going to start again. I should have done this a better way. As in, I'm going to start with this key, but I'm killing you with the suspense. Yeah, hi. And right. just all right. Change permissions. Clear the terminal now. Fingers crossed. I had trouble with the format of that key before. That's why I just was a bit particular with the format, and I made a real fudge of that. 192.168.127.177. Yep, there we go. That's the box. Happy hacking.